It's DiGiorno, and in part by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
If you're a player in the NBA, would you want to play in the NFL too? Well, NBA free agent Nate Robinson said in a video with The Lead Sports that he wants to audition for some NFL teams and wants to become the first modern day player to play in both the NBA and the NFL. So it got us thinking, which NBA player other than LeBron James, would make a good NFL player? Well,
so I guess we set aside LeBron because he's so amazingly athletic.
And he played wide receiver in high school.
Right.
It was outstanding.
I think the easy answer, the gut go-to most people is to look for tight ends because that's where we've seen the crossover, at least, right? I mean,
I look for wide receivers, but I hear you.
Well, that's where I'm going, Kay. I'm going wide receiver because I feel like we've seen the tight end. We've seen, right? It's Jimmy Graham.
And they always dunk the football like a basketball after they score a touchdown.
So you look for the big power forward that can go become a tight end. But I want to see the wide receiver. I think that's interesting. So I'm going to take John Wall, 6'4", 195, fast. I want to see him playing wide out. And as my backup, I'd like to see Kawhi Leonard, too. Really athletic, tall again, both playing wide out.
I like that.
Long arms. They both have long arms.
Well, Leonard's hands, too.
Yeah, huge, yeah.
That's what I'd like to see. One of those guys playing wide out.
I mean, I wrote down, I had like a starting 5 that could just transfer over to the NFL. And then I realized there was no white dudes on here. And I'm like, why is that? I'm like, well...
Got a problem with white dudes in the NFL?
No, I just realized that there's so many of them are foreign and European, so they probably...
Well, that didn't keep him playing football. You know what, tall and skinny does.
You don't want Valanciunas out there playing outside linebacker?
Plus, they maybe wouldn't know the game inherently, okay, the way the American players would. No, so I had John Wall as well, but then I put Dame Lillard in the slot as a receiver as well. Andre Iguodala, I think, because he's 6'8" and can just jump, so he maybe could be your tight end, although maybe he's a little slight for tight end.
Yeah, he's like 210, right? 215.
So
in between wide out and tight end.
He'd be wide receiver, but the way he can jump and with his hands, I mean, covering him in Philly, saw him throw down a bunch of alley-oops. I got Kenneth Faried. I think he can be a defensive end, I think. So I went away from wide receiver there for a second. Yeah. I think Draymond Green, for sure. He has the size and bulk to be a tight end in the NFL as well.
Okay.
It's good. I like it.
I mean, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
But there's so many. The defensive end thing's so hard because the NFL is just so much more of a contact sport than NBA. Are they prepared to step over there and make those kind of hits?
But he's 228, though. Yeah. So that's big.
Not for a defensive end.
Freddie? I mean, he could be like a tweener.
Yeah. Aaron Gordon, Orlando, wide receiver.
Oh, man. I wrote Aaron Gordon down.
Throw that ball up to him and let him go get it, a wide receiver on the outside. DeAndre Jordan of the Clippers, a tight end. As big as he is with his hands, you're not asking him to shoot free throws. Just catch the football.
DeAndre Jordan.
6'11" down the slot. And I had Draymond Green, but for a different position. Defensive and outside linebacker. He doesn't shy away from contact. Yeah. He can get after the quarterback with his first step and his speed. You know that he's going to run his mouth and let you know what time it is anytime he's getting to your quarterback. But Aaron Gordon and the outside wide receiver, he'd be Calvin Johnson times 10 with his athletic ability.
We got any quarterbacks? Oh, Klay Thompson maybe could run some quarterback?
Nah, he's more of a DB.
Prim's got one.
He's in the secondary.
No, I actually had Aaron Gordon down because well, first of all, I think he should have won the dunk contest. Maybe Zach LaVine, because you know his celebrations in the end zone would be good because he would be a
He can fly.
We have about 45 seconds. How much of a chance do you think Nate actually has? I mean, the dude is...
torn ACL that he had not too long ago. And trying to
zero.
I'm glad he's trying it.
What is
I'd say zero. Okay. A bad movie from 1987. That's what that is. Less than zero.
You were just an encyclopedia.
A bad movie from 1987. That's what it is.
I'm kind of sad. I don't know what I'm going to do without you guys.
It's the end of an era.
In some people's minds, the end of an error. E-E-R-E-R-R-O-R. Depending on the Twitter.
At least
the Twitter people.
He is insane. He's a machine. All of you guys are
Freddie,
Kate, Will. Well, listen, planning for the future doesn't always work out the way you want it. Cowboys reporter Todd Archer wrote a piece on ESPN.com about how the Broncos drafted Brock Osweiler in 2012 to be the quarterback of the future behind Peyton Manning. Come 2016, and they're left with literally nothing. Well, except for Trevor Siemian. Todd talked about how the Cowboys could learn from that situation. So, guys, how should they go about replacing Romo? And I'm going to defer to the Cowboys fans. Will?
So here's our choice, Freddie. Do the Cowboys go the Brock Osweiler path? which is get nothing in return on your investment, or very little, to develop a starting quarterback for somebody else? Or do they hope it turns out the Aaron Rodgers path, the seamless transition from the franchise quarterback of many years to the next franchise quarterback? When they look at their number 4 pick in the draft and they say Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, or maybe others, I think they do have to worry. Which one is it we're getting? Are we getting Aaron Rodgers or Brock Osweiler? I'm not even talking about from a talent perspective. I'm talking about, is he going to be yours or somebody else's? Because that's a massive risk. Whoa, if you develop him for somebody else, what a waste of a number 4 pick. That could be Joey Bosa. That could be Jalen Ramsey holding down your secondary for years and years to come. I think for me, I go the Aaron Rodgers path, though, because, first of all, as a Cowboys fan, I'm really never worried about getting money whipped. I mean, Cowboys are
not with Jerry. They print
Jerry's
money.
going to take care of it. If he wants you, you're going to get your money. And I hope he can also manage the egos as well, so that you don't get in a situation where, like Brock Osweiler was, where your feelings are hurt, or maybe Kaepernick in San Francisco, where your feelings are hurt, and that's dictating your outcome. So I bank on Jerry being able to take care of that heir apparent and wanting to be there at the end of Tony Romo's tenure and having 2 years to start. But I got one more point, and that is I'm not sure that's Carson Wentz. I'm not sure that's Jared Goff. I'm not sure you use your number 4 pick in this year's draft to do it. And here's why. I have said, you know, I've had the debate, you're only up here so often. You only have the number 4 pick so often. But I keep hearing a name coming out from guys who are around the Cowboys, and it's a really intriguing name for me. And you can get this name maybe in the 3rd round. Maybe you have to spend a 2nd round. And that's Dak Prescott.
Oh, you stole my line. Man,
from Mississippi
stole
State.
my line.
Went sideways for you, Freddie.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, we're on the same mind. Go ahead. Yeah.
People are comparing him to Tim Tebow. They're saying in this way, leader in the locker room, great character, smart, but more athletic.
5 arm.
He has to learn still. He's still young. He wasn't necessarily in a pro system that he's ready to step in and do this, but a couple years learning, Dak Prescott might be just as good a bet as Carson Wentz or Jared Goff. So I follow the Rodgers bet.
Prescott. It's such a Dallas name.
Dak.
There we go.
And he's a
what do you think about Kellen Moore?
I don't think.
Backup at best.
I don't think.
Career backup at best.
Okay. So you don't think Tony Romo's backup is currently on the roster?
No, he's there, but he's not going to be a starting quarterback.
Heir apparent is not currently on the roster.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, to me, if I'm looking at the Cowboys, I definitely draft my next QB, because I think, as you mentioned, Will, there are lessons to be learned from what happened with Brock Osweiler at Denver. So if you want to avoid the English Premier League happening to you, where you develop somebody else's player for Arsenal or for Chelsea, then you just, because of course the same parameters aren't in place when you look at the NFL versus the EPL, but we're talking about whether you invest in some guy, can you then keep him? And one, you mentioned the money. I don't think that can happen to the Dallas Cowboys, or won't happen. And then also, you make sure that you do cultivate a relationship with your backup quarterback, and make sure that you do communicate well with him if he is your heir apparent. Because it seems like the Denver Broncos could have done a few things differently in how they communicated with Brock, especially, you know, in the second half of the San Diego game. In certain moments where you're like, a little better communication might have avoided his decision to go elsewhere. So I think the Cowboys absolutely have to look through the draft as opposed to paying, you know, Chase Daniel money to a guy who's not even your future franchise QB.
There's no reason for the Cowboys to not take Carson Wentz at number 4 if he's there. If he's not there, then you
just gave us the reason. It's Dak Prescott.
No. Here's why. Here's my other reason. If he's
Prescott.
gone, if Carson Wentz is gone, then you take Jalen Smith at number 4. Then in the 2nd or 3rd round, you get either Prescott. Here's another name, Brandon Allen, quarterback out of Arkansas. Rangy guy, live arm, played in a pro-style system with Brett Bielema at Arkansas, really played extremely well in the second halves of seasons in the SEC for Arkansas. But there's no reason for them to not take Carson Wentz. Tony Romo is 35 years of age. When you're going to have surgery to shave down your collarbone in hopes that you're going to stay healthy, you know that's playing with fire if you're the Dallas Cowboys. They went in the last season thinking, hey, we got a break. Tony Romo was fully healthy for 16 games. He played at an MVP level back in 2014. There was no doubt he was an MVP level type quarterback. And a bad rule that was executed properly kept that team from beating Green Bay and playing Seattle, a team they had beaten in the regular season. The Cowboys had no fear going to play them in the championship game, especially when they beat them in the regular season. They were down by double digits early on in that game. That was a perfect storm that completely went the other way last year. And if you're Jerry Jones, you can't say, well, that was last year, it's not going to happen this year. You have to take into account that the possibility is going to be there that Tony Romo is going to get injured again. You're hoping for luck, you're wishing for luck, you're praying for luck, you're asking too much for luck. And since Andrew Luck's not joining the Dallas Cowboys, that's not the kind of luck you need to surround yourself with if you're Dallas. Carson Wentz is there at number 4, you take Carson Wentz. If he's not there, Jalen Ramsey, who in my opinion out of Florida State is the next great safety cornerback that's going to play in the National Football League. You pair him in that backfield with the kid they got last year at safety. Now you got 2 guys that are thumpers in the defensive backfield. Then you get your quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round. Maybe Paxton Lynch of Memphis. Maybe he slides down into the 2nd round. He's going to be there. But if you do that and don't take Carson Wentz, your backup plan better be including a quarterback taken in the 2nd or 3rd round.
All right, so you guys like the Cowboys hitting the draft, but what about a guy like Johnny Manziel? Because he is now available. The Browns did, in fact,